Okay, thanks everyone for your patience. I'm still getting used to running the Zoom meeting or the Zoom for our meeting, and maybe by March I'll have it down. So I appreciate your patience. But we'll go ahead and get started. Let's see. Right. Well, right at the start here, we have a new member to induct. It's very exciting for me. So I want to invite Don Hibbard. Oh, he's going to.
He wants to know if he has to come up.
Yeah, you probably do.
Wrote like a 45-minute speech for a give about.
Yes.
It's like, I want to sit for person.
So let's see. Former president, I go through this first, right?
Yes.
Forgot to ask you that, Mike. So, okay, new member induction. The ideal of Rotary excuse me, is service, and our motto is service above self. The object of this club and all Rotary clubs is to encourage and foster this ideal as a basis of worthy enterprise. In particular, we encourage and foster the development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service, high ethical standards in business and professions, the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life, and the advancement of international understanding, apropos for today's topic, goodwill and peace throughout the world. Andy Holmes, you are now part of this effort. Accordingly, as we welcome new members to our club, it is an opportunity for all of us to remind ourselves that we are judged by the Rotary four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. And the first one ties directly to Kyle's message today. So we've got that wonderful theme. So please join me again in the four-way test. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned?
Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Andy, please remember that you've been admitted not only into the Rotary Club of Flint, but into a worldwide association. And by virtue of your membership in this club, you are welcome into the fellowship of Rotary clubs around the world. Fellow Rotarians, please welcome our newest member, Andy Holmes.
Yeah, yeah.
It's in the cup.
It's in the cup. Oh, tricky.
Yes, we have gifts for new members. A pin, a Rotary pin for you to wear every day and everywhere you go. You do not have to wear the Rotary
You need
pin.
like 6 of these, because you're gonna get lost.
Oh, yeah. Oh, here only has one Rotary pin. Well, you're new, and pretty soon you're gonna say, oh, I need a backup. I have a tin on my desk, I have them in my purse, they're probably on the floor in my car. It's good to have.
Are you sure about that? We're having some technical difficulties here.
Where's my ability over here?
There you go. Pop that first.
And we do have extras for sale at any time, so, and a good Rotarian will also loan you a pen, so,
Did you want me to do the introduction?
yes.
Okay. Well, it is my pleasure today to introduce Andy Holmes, and if anyone has questioned the veracity of a Thirsty Thursday, Andy first came to us through Thirsty Thursdays. So it does attract a certain kind of person. Well-hydrated people, yes. Andy was born in Southern California and grew up in Lancaster, the northernmost point, a part of Los Angeles County. He holds bachelor's and master's degrees in business from the University of Phoenix. And for the past 21 years, he has dedicated his career to various forms of education. He started as a girls' volleyball coach and a student teacher for an infant to kindergarten program. So he's going to be great for that library volunteer thing we have with little people. His journey led him to a nonprofit education services provider where he has worked for over 18 years. His roles have evolved to include board management and facilitation, quality assurance, and ensuring compliance with local and state regulations. In May 2018, Andy moved to Flint to help open a dropout recovery and prevention high school. This move was not just professional, but also personal. With a large Polish family spread across Michigan, the Midwest has always felt like home to Andy. Flint, with its grit and underdog spirit, resonated with his own beliefs and aspirations. He admires our city's energy and the community's unwavering belief in its own potential. His goal was to become an integral part of this community, contributing positively and making a tangible impact, and he has taken a big step on that today. Outside of his professional life, Andy is a passionate traveler, always eager to explore new places and cultures, and he cherishes time spent with family, enjoys the theater and visiting art museums, and rarely turns down a good glass of red wine. Yeah. Please help me in welcoming Andy Holmes.
I'm going to keep this short. Thank you all for such a kind welcome. I really look forward to being a contributing member of the Rotary here and internationally. And if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to ask. I've already signed up for some of the service stuff and I will be at Thirsty Thursdays. Thank you.
We need you on the program speakers committee.
And fellowship. All right, thank you, Don. Welcome, Andy. Okay, I also just want to give a shout out to Becky. Amy is still coming to help us with the check-in, Terry, of course. And I'm very pleased to announce that Marie Zook and Mike Chafee have extended interest in helping with the registration piece moving forward. We would still like to have maybe 1 or 2 more people that can just learn how to do the credit card machine and just check a name off. That's really all that's required. And maybe get here 20 minutes early. But we'll let you go early if you need to just shift your time. So please give it some thought. It would be a huge help. That way someone doesn't have to do it every single time and it can be spread out. And then you can work together to, decide who's going to do what day. That would be a huge help. And Mike and Marie are, gonna start doing it so they can tell you if we're telling the truth or if we're not, but we are Rotarians, so I'm sure you know the answer to that. Okay, the other item is, service at opportunities. We talked about the drain stenciling and then also the Rotary Crim Mile. We had 2 more people sign up since our last meeting. And we definitely could use some more. So how many people here are running in the Crim? Great, so the rest of you can come tonight for breakfast. And yes, you're gonna get breakfast. And you're gonna watch all these people running by. No one,
Save my water till I get there. It'll be late.
you can come late, but you know, you'll see the runners coming by. We help them with the direction of where they need to be going. Pardon me. They get water, they get big smiles from us. We tell them to keep on going. It's really a great way to start your day. So please give it some thought. There's a sign-in sheet and we definitely can do better than 8. Come on. And you don't have to run the Crim. So those are your options. Run the Crim or help at the Crim. I know which one I'm choosing. All right, does anybody have any health and welfare? Okay. Amy Krug has had the COVID virus. So keep her in your thoughts and her family because her mother's also positive. That is just something that keeps coming up like a bad penny. And then we'd like to welcome guests and, oh, you're not a guest, you're a Rotarian. Joe, please come and announce the guests. We have a familiar face.
Well, under health and welfare, Reg was happy that I got out of the witness protection. But it's my pleasure to introduce Heather Marco. Heather is from the Mott Park area. She's a colleague of mine at Merrill Lynch Bank of America, and happy to introduce you as a potential Rotarian.
We have Karen Wilkinson, our regular guest with Reg. Dory is back with us from Michigan and Florida. Good to see you again, Dory. And we have Renita Coney Mays, who's a guest of Lynetta. And Sasha Drummond Lewis, who is a sociology professor at the University of Michigan, Flint. And just to let you know how big we are, we've never met. And she's been there 12 years and I've been there 14. So, but now we've met and it's delightful. So welcome. All right, who is doing our 50-50 today?
You know, I will do it, and I have brought my auditor for the new year to help me out.
Oh,
I'm not an auditor.
Wait.
only one of them wore long sleeves. All right, get your tickets
I'm a tax
out.
girl, sorry, I'm not an auditor.
I guess you need to hold that.
Oh.
And I'll reach.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
you
want
can,
to
no, you get it.
Delivered, all right.
We can do both.
Are you gonna yell it?
Yeah, I'll go. 749-718. Hey. Let me take it.
Oh, there's one on the floor.
Third place I dropped. 749-711. All right.
All right, let me draw them. No, you might be reading your own.
Oh, yeah, that one does feel like fine.
Oh, that's.
749-754. Oh.
That was quick. Congratulations to our raffle winners. I think Fred has to come back soon because he's got to replenish his bank account. All right, I would like to invite Don Heppard up again. Who's going to introduce our guest speaker.
People are going to think I'm trying to do a coup.
While you're doing that, I'm gonna pull up her presentation.
It's my pleasure to be back at the microphone. I'm here to introduce our speaker today. Phyllis Sykes is here. She is a proud native of Flint and a resident of the world. I love being here. At a young age, she traveled abroad, and the experience transformed and shaped how she views the world and how to exist in it. Today, Ms. Sykes is committed to promoting the benefits of an expanded global view as co-founder and executive director of the International Center of Greater Flint. ICGF is an initiative created to make Flint and Genesee County a vibrant and welcoming global community by encouraging building and sustaining strong multicultural relationships. She views the current challenges before the community as an opportunity to transform and reinvent itself as an energetic, culturally rich community that embraces diversity. Ms. Sykes has a unique and distinguished professional background, having been a radio and TV journalist, communications director for a nonprofit, U of M Flint lecturer and administrator, hopefully you met her, and a consultant specializing in program design and management. She has a Master of Science in Administration and a Bachelor's of Arts degree, both from Central Michigan University in Mount Pleasant. She has served on numerous boards, and as an advocate for the arts, she is currently a board member for Tapology. Ms. Sykes is also known to dabble in the acting arena, having performed in various community theater productions. In addition to being a passionate world traveler, she is an avid reader, writer, yoga practitioner, and physical fitness enthusiast. Please join me in welcoming today's speaker, Phyllis Sykes.
It's okay.
Oh, no, I got it.
Thank you, Don, for that introduction, and thank you for making this possible for us to be here. Thank you, Lynetta, for making the arrangements, and I'm just really thrilled to be here and share with you about the International Center of Greater Flint. How many of you remember the International Institute? Oh, great, great. So you already know what, I can sit down now. But you already know the role that the International Institute played in the community. And for some of you who don't know, the Institute closed back in 2008, I believe. I think they ran into some financial situations, the landscape of the community had changed, and they ended up closing their doors, which I personally think was a bit short-sighted, because here we are now 10 to 15 years later, and we are in need of another place to serve as a welcoming center for newcomers, internationals that choose to make Flint their home. So how we came about reigniting the International Center was back in 2014, 15. Ellen, I don't know if you remember, but U of M Flint did massive recruitment of international students. And so you could find these students downtown and you would hear different languages spoken downtown. And actually, it wasn't just limited to downtown, at various stores and businesses throughout the community. You would see people here, young people here from different parts of the world. And we thought, well, this is a great opportunity to engage with these students, to find out what their experience is like here in Flint. What would it take for them to stay here in Flint and utilize the skills that they have acquired through the educational institutions? So myself and Ala Muhammad, and how we met is a story unto itself, came together and we thought, why don't we pursue this and see if the community is interested in learning about these new people who have chosen to make Flint their home. And so we formed the International Center of Greater Flint, both as co-partners. I, from Flint, being an original Flintstone, I knew Flint. He lived the immigrant experience as an immigrant himself, coming here from India and choosing to go to school, stay here, and raise his family. So together, we decided to form the International Center of Greater Flint. And this was after many conversations with various entities throughout the community to see if it was viable. So I believe it was in 2015-16 when we formally formed the International Center of Greater Flint. And what it is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to celebrating and promoting diversity because it strengthens our community. Our mission is to collaborate with others to help make Flint and the surrounding areas a vibrant and, oh gosh, see, I can't do two things at one time, okay? Yes. A vibrant and welcoming global community, and to also increase the prosperity of the region by encouraging, building, and sustaining strong multicultural relationships. One of the communities that was doing this and doing this well was Detroit. Detroit formed the Global Detroit Initiative and actually tried to do it here in Flint before we came aboard. But we made contact with Global Detroit and we kind of wanted to mimic what they did, but of course, tailor it to Flint because Flint, while there are a lot of similarities, Flint is definitely different. So we worked with networks within the organization, within the community organizations and individuals to get input from them as to what their thoughts were with this new population. We intentionally build opportunities for connections also with long-term residents of Genesee County and those who migrate here from other regions of the world in order to build relationships, trust, and mutual understanding. These are some of the partners that we dealt with and that we engaged to make this possible. So lastly, we collaborate with these local organizations to ensure that the newcomers to our region are supported so that the region can grow and thrive. So over the years, we had special events. If you remember the International Institute, they used to have these wonderful international festivals where you could sample different cuisine. And they just had a host of activities that really brought the community together. So we wanted to duplicate that in our own special way. And we've had a number of special events highlighting the cultural diversity here in our community, whether through events, cuisine, etc. So in March of 2004, we launched the Global Flint Initiative, because while we know that there are international residents here, they tend to be isolated and insulated, and we really don't have a real clear picture of who is here. So to deepen our work, we launched the Global Flint Initiative to advance our work. The Global Flint Initiative aims to build an economic and community revitalization strategy that focuses on attracting and retaining international talent in the greater Flint area. Our initiative is inspired also by the Flint Master Plan. Some of you probably know about the Flint Master Plan. We're also going through an update of that master plan. But in the master plan, it was also stated that they wanted to make Flint a welcoming community with the international population. So really this idea wasn't ours, it wasn't ours alone, but it was a community at large that also saw the value of being a welcoming community for all. So we initiated the Global Flint Initiative, and we worked with the resources that we have in the community to actually do this. We have 3 fine higher learning institutions. We partnered with U of M Flint, Kettering, and Mott Community College to develop a needs assessment to find out from this international population, what are the needs? What are the issues that they are facing here in Flint? And what are the challenges and obstacles that keep them from making Flint their home and to be contributors to the community? And so one of the team members is here, Dr. Drummond Lewis, and she will come up and kind of give you some insight as to what the Global Flint Initiative is all about. But at this time, I want to introduce the co-founder, Otto Muhammad. who will share with you what his experience has been as an immigrant here in Flint and as the International Center moving forward. So, Otto?
Thank you, Phyllis. Good afternoon, everybody. I've done this many times, but when I speak to large number of people, I get a little nervous. So forgive me for that. As Phyllis said, I have lived the immigrant experience. And I want to just touch upon that a little bit and how it dovetails with why I'm doing what I'm doing. I came to the United States as an international student, and the first place I landed in was Louisville, Kentucky. And looking for a place to stay, going around, knocking on doors, looking for an apartment to rent. And this landowner, who happened to be a World War II veteran nurse, she opened the door. And as soon as she knew I was an international student, she's like, no, I can't, no, I can't have students here because you guys are all gonna party and get drunk and all that stuff. So she said no. So I'm like, can I at least see the place, you know? She said, because, you know, I may have some other people who, I was just buying time, okay? So, and then she let me see the place, and as we were talking, her heart softened. I don't know what happened, but she changed her mind by the time it was time to leave. And then she said, you know what, I'm gonna let you rent from me. If it doesn't work out, I'll kick you out, but otherwise I'm gonna let you stay here, right? So, and from that day on, August of 1983, the first, I was in Louisville for 3 months before I moved to Detroit in December. She not only taught me a lot of stuff about America, because my knowledge about America was based on movies, books, and music, Hollywood. So, you know, limited knowledge. But once she started teaching me, I recall, and I tell this story to people, that every time I sign a check, I remember her, because she taught me how to sign a check, how to write it, you know, where do you put the numbers, how do you spell it out, and where do you sign it, what do you put in the memo. So Carmela Tronzo, that's her name, okay? So I remember her every time I sign a check. And the other thing she also taught me is how to address an envelope. Where does the from address go to? Where does the to address? Where does the stamp go to? These are things that, you know, here you pick it up, right? But there's a certain way to do it. And I used to watch CBS Evening News with Dan Rather every day. Evening time, I would be back from college. I would go down, watch the news, and then watch Three's Company. And then, so that was the sequence: evening news, and then Three's Company, and then go back up. Sometimes we would watch MASH. Thomas Magnum, you know, Magnum PI, right? So all this education, the immersive experience of America, I experienced that through her. And basically what she had done was be welcoming to somebody from the outside, even though there's a little bit of that hesitation and, you know, who is this person? Who are they? I don't want to deal with them, right? So it wasn't just the student aspect. It is like, I don't know where they come, you know, they're coming from someplace. Culturally, there's a barrier here, but she, broke through that. And I did the same thing, right? So it is a two-way street. And that's what we're trying to do here with the International Center of Greater Flint, is to create a place where you can break through that both ways. This has to be a two-way street. And that is why when we do the surveys, we're not just talking to the international folks, we're also talking to the locals, so that the data and the learning that we get from the survey will inform how we build a long-term plan. everybody's watching the Olympics these days, right? Or at least most of us are. And what is the symbol of the Olympics? The interconnected circles, right? And that's the other thing that we're trying to do. We all have our little circles that we sit at, like we have a circle at our own table, right? But we are part of the Rotary. So there's a connection there. So it's not, you're not confined to your little table. There's a larger mission. And that's the other thing that we're trying to do is the International Center of Greater Flint is trying to connect all the different circles and the communities that are already here. That's my spiel. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. Thank you for your time.
So as he said, in order to develop a successful strategy, we need to know a lot more about who is here, what brings them here, what keeps them here, or what makes them want to leave. So, and what the needs are, what the gaps are, and the strengths and opportunities. So ICGF is partnering with area researchers from Kettering, led by Kenneth Williams and the international students he works with, and a team from U of M Flint, led by Sasha Drummond-Lewis, Emily Fairhorn, and Jennifer Albee. And so the team that we put together will seek input and feedback from multiple stakeholders and partners to create a comprehensive survey. This is a quantitative, big picture research helping us learn more about immigrants in the greater Flint area, including refugees, asylum seekers, immigrants, and international students, all within the greater Flint area. And I'm going to take this opportunity right now to introduce Dr. Drummond-Lewis, who is on the team of researchers, and she'll be able to tell you a little bit more about what we're doing here in the community.
Thank you, Phyllis, and thank you all for having us here today. Really grateful for your attention, for your invite, and for this opportunity to share what we're doing here. So as Phyllis mentioned, I'm here today to represent the entire research team. My name is Sasha Drummond-Lewis. I am a faculty member, particularly in sociology at the University of Michigan, Flint. But in my capacity here, I'm part of this research team that is collaborating with ICGF to help them execute their Global Flint initiative. And this initiative is one where we're trying to study immigrants in the greater Flint area in Genesee County. By immigrants, we're using the term immigrants as an inclusive term. So immigrants includes international students, includes refugees, includes asylum seekers. Right? And so we want to gather data on their experiences living here in Genesee County, but we wanted to do it in a more systemic and comprehensive way. So we developed a two-prong study where we're going to conduct surveys and then use the survey information to help us conduct focus groups. And we call it a two-step process, but I actually think there's a third one, which Phyllis has alluded to. We launched in March and we had a meeting with stakeholders. We had an event with stakeholders where we gathered many people from across the area, many organizations, representatives, and asked their input, all those who work with immigrants, and asked their input in creating these instruments. So it's not based on our perceptions of immigrant needs or wants, but based on those who actually work with them day to day, right? Who know what their needs are and see some of their experiences. So in this study, we started with the stakeholder event, and then we are now currently in step one, which is a comprehensive survey. This survey is mainly demographics, but does seek to go beyond that. So we do have questions about their education and questions about how many children they have and their marital status. But it goes beyond that to actually ask about experiences with coming and living here in the United States. So we ask them why they left their home country, why they've decided to settle in the greater Flint area, whether or not they plan to stay, if they're leaving, where they're going, if they're staying, why they're staying, what keeps them here in Flint. We're asking them about their experiences with the educational system, the social and public services, healthcare, employment, transportation is a big one that we heard from stakeholders, and their ability to integrate, to engage and feel a sense of belonging while here. The data, as I said, from this survey is going to be used to inform the next step, but we are currently in the stage of data collection. So you see us today, but you might see us in other places throughout the next couple months, 2 to 3 months, as we'll be going to different community events, going to different organizations to meet immigrants where they are to collect this data. So the data that we've already collected, we've gotten some really positive feedback. Those who've taken it have said that it's really tapping into experiences that they've had, but have not been able to share. They don't know who to share it with or who you would tell. When you go to services, there's no translator. When you go to get services and they tell you, well, go back to the service that sent you here and send them back again. So they were talking about how these experiences have happened to them, but they've never had a chance to tell anyone about the frustrations they had with being an immigrant here. So we've gotten some really positive feedback about the survey being able to tap into these issues that we want to know about. So we'll use this data, and in stage 2, we're going to start a focus group where we, at the end of every survey, we do it currently, we invite anyone who wants to volunteer to come with us in the fall for a more intimate discussion, to get in depth about any of the issues that we find are prevalent from the survey. So we'll analyze the survey data, figure out what are the biggest pressing issues for immigrants, and then invite them to have focus groups where we can delve deeper and figure out what the main issues are and how we can find workarounds or solutions to these issues for them. So as Phyllis has said, we hope to use the findings to develop a strategic plan, to have a strategic vision, to make sure we have advocacy. And the reason we're here today is to ask you for your cooperation, for your help in doing this study. So we would like to get any referrals you may have, any groups, individuals, even organizations that you know of that interact or engage with immigrants in any capacity. We would love to have those referrals so that we can go to those sites, go to those organizations, get immigrants where they are at, and be able to tap into all their needs. Is that it? Okay, thank you all for your attention.
And I just want to add, another part to the survey is also talking to Flint. I like to call us Flintstones. Those of us that are born and raised in Flint and been in Flint for an extended period of time. Because it's also important for us to know what the experience is like for people that live here. You can't be a welcoming community if you don't feel like you want to be welcoming. So we want to hear from Flint area people what their experiences are, what their issues are, what their concerns are. And we want to take that information into account as we develop the strategic plan. So again, if you know of any individuals, one of the things that we find is there are families here. There are a lot of people here that are insulated, isolated, don't really engage. And so we're asking if you know of families, if you know of individuals, if, as Dr. Sasha said, if you could refer them to us, because we would love to hear them. Hear from them. We do offer a small stipend to encourage them to participate. And we're looking forward to the results of this. So I guess at this time, I will entertain any questions, address any questions for myself, Otto, or Dr. Lewis. Yes, Ellen.
How would you like those referrals? Do you want us to share your contact information?
Yes.
For volunteers, and we'll just contact you directly.
Yes.
I have my clients here, so they probably forward, but it's not forwarded yet. I can leave them at the door. Our contact information is on there. A little bit of information on the Global Flint initiatives on there. So you can use that to get in touch with us, and it can also be a reference material on what we're doing and who we are. So I'll just leave them at on the table, on the table, the board.
Yes,
So I have lots of questions. I'll just
Great.
start with one. and
Okay.
There was a chance to go. But first of all, thank you very much. I, have heard from a couple different parts of the community that there has been a recent uptick in the number
yes,
of immigrants coming to Flint, although I haven't heard a lot of public conversation about that yet. I'm hearing that we're starting to get more families from Afghanistan,
yes.
some families from Cuba recently relocated. And I'm wondering if you could just paint us a picture of what you know to be the case at this moment in time, and what is the dynamic you're seeing with changes in populations coming? And then anything that you would want us to know in order to be in the best position to be of use and welcoming to our neighbors with that.
We are aware that, as I said earlier, that they're here and they're coming. There is, of all the different immigrants, that we have a growing Cuban population. And Latinx, which is an agency that deals with the population, is engaged with that. So, but it's Cuban, Venezuelan. We do know that there's an Afghan family that is here. And so, but in answer to your question, it's a survey that's really going to tell us that kind of information in terms of what the challenges are and where the gaps in services are. So we're really trying to coordinate with the other agencies that deal with that population to get a better picture of what those issues are. Yes.
Just a comment too, I'm Ukrainian.
Oh, wonderful.
And I am an immigrant. Okay, and there are several families that are here now that are under the Biden 2-year program. There's about
Yes.
4 families that are in the community, just so that you know. I grew up at the International Institute, okay, basically, and at one point I was even president of the board. But what I see that you're going to be interviewing all of the newcomers and those immigrants. Are you doing anything with also maybe interviewing those of us that have been here a while and are longer immigrants? And what helped us? What helped us in the community? Why did we stay here? What, to get some ideas on how to help the new ones.
Yes.
We would welcome that. We hadn't thought about that.
Well, we had
Well,
talked
have we-
about, if this goes well and it's getting the data that we want, we would continue collecting data over the next 2 years, every 2 years or so, and then we figure out how to get other groups, as many groups as we can, so that.
Wonderful.
So right now we are concentrating on first and second generation, but there's no reason that in other iterations we can also have a survey for.
Because I would think you would get a lot of ideas of what worked.
Yeah. Yes.
What works for us.
Right, right,
Who helped us.
right. And yes, that's, thank you so much.
Because
Yes,
basically when we integrated, it was pure help.
yes.
So
Okay.
thank God for people in the community that helped us.
I just add to the demographics that Phyllis talked about. There's a West African group that's already established. I don't know how many of you know that. On Flushing Road and Belsay, they've actually created their own center, community center. They happen to be mostly Muslim, so it's a mosque, but it is a community center. And the reason they set it up there is because that's where they're buying houses, right? There is a Yemeni group that have created their own mosque. Again, this goes back to the circles I talked about. We're all kind of creating our own circles, but there is no place that connects everything up. So we're kind of comfortable in our circle and afraid of the other. And we are really fighting that too. So we want to come up with a plan that will connect people up so that we can break down those barriers and help each other. I came to Detroit in 1983, December, right? And then I moved to Flint for a job. AC Sparkle, that's where I went. But AC Sparkle is no more, Delphi is no more, but I'm still in Flint. What is keeping me here? There's a story there, okay? So there are things in the Flint community that are attracting people. We need to highlight that to attract newcomers. That's part of the economic development that we really haven't gotten into, but That's why we said right at the beginning, this is a regional economic development effort. Okay, so it's not just feel good, and it's not that, it's beyond that, it's actually going to revive the regional economy. And there are other cities who have done it. The thing that we're trying to do here is customize it to Flint's needs, because you can't just copy from somebody else. And you have to get the buy-in from the locals and you have to customize it. That's part of the reason behind collecting all the data and being deliberate in how to develop that plan. We're trying to sell all the, okay, here's one statistic. I don't know how many of you know this. This is the city numbers. The population, 20% drop in 10 years. And since then, another 2,000 or so left. So we're trying to stem the tide. And the best way other communities have stemmed the tide is through using the immigrant intakes. And we don't mean sanctuary city, that's not what we're talking about. It is the people who are here legally, attracting the STEM talents, bringing in immigrants who tend to be in the science fields.
And entrepreneurs, that's
And
the other thing,
entrepreneurs.
tend to be
So
entrepreneurs.
the Yemeni groups that are coming here, they're establishing businesses. The Kamaria Coffee House, the Shibam Restaurant.
Shazam.
Shazam,
Shazam and
yeah.
Flushing. is fast.
So these are all happening and we're not connecting the dots. And we want to be a little bit more deliberate and, connecting those dots and showing it to the, community at large to say, these are the strengths that the immigrant groups are bringing. Let's leverage that to stem the tide of population decline.
One of the things that we have found in talking to the international populations is they see low-hanging fruit here based on where they come from. They see advantages and they see opportunities. So, and they actually tend to be some of the best ambassadors for the city of Flint. So there's so many opportunities that we can forge with this, and we certainly look to you for your support. And again, if you have any referrals, please feel free to forward them to us. And again, thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. So much. It was very interesting. They're right in my building, and I just learned more than I've ever known, so that's terrific. I have two new coworkers, and one is she's from Palestine, and the other one is from Romania. And I'll probably send them your way, give you some feedback.
I just want to add one more thing, because this can be a little bit of confusion. We are not part of the University of Michigan.
Right.
We are a community nonprofit. Happen to be sitting in a University of Michigan building. And because of the similarity in the name, International Center, people confuse us as being part of UFM. We're not. We're outside the UFM structure. We get a lot of support from University of Michigan. The space actually that we're in right now is donated to us by the Outreach Center, EDA, Paul Analysis Group. So we're very thankful and appreciative of that, but we're not part of the UFM. We're trying to be a larger nonprofit in the community, connecting everything.
Which would be nice if you have a standalone
Yes.
location,
And if you
or a space that is a little bit more prevalent than in the North Bank Center, which is where, which U of M Flint owns, but we have a number of non-U of M Flint tenants in that building. So, but we think we're all family.
Yeah.
So.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much. So again, if anyone has ideas for them, please pick up a flyer on your way out. And you can also email me and I can forward it on. So I think we look forward to seeing how this research turns out, and as Rotarians, we all definitely want to be part of a welcoming city. And I've always felt it was very welcoming, but I've grown up here, but a lot of people say that it is, but you can always do better. And so this is very good news about the work you're doing. So just final reminder, next Thursday, if you can, RSVP and join us at Hot Dogs and Hot Rods. I want to thank Kyle McCree for the inspirational message. To Dawn Hibbard for like triple duty today. She introduced our speaker. She helped with Andy's induction. Andy Holmes, our new member, and also she's taking care of the bulletin minutes. And so again, if somebody else wants to do something like that, let me know. Setup and takedown was Vic George and Terry Mormon, Becky Millsap, Mike Chafee helped with check-in. 50-50 raffle was Terry and Becky. And our Zoom host, Joe Martin, our secretary.
Give Terry credit.
Oh, and I'm sorry, Nick. Yes, Nick did 50-50. Oh. All right, very good. So with that, we are adjourned. Have a wonderful weekend and sign up for the Prim Rotary Mile. I gotta stop the recording. Okay. So, I grew up in that part.
You did? Yeah. I'm out and down.
So you haven't been there very long, 4 years. When that went up for sale, I looked at the pictures because I always wondered. I thought that was like 1,500 people. That was like a famous